fired up.
4th down and goal from the 9. 17 seconds to go. The play clock at 3. Shotgun snap. Carr throws into traffic. Intercepted. Jermaine Pratt has the football.
Yeah.
Coffin nails.
Bam, bam, bam. How about that? It ends on a turnover.
Joe Burrow takes the snap. He takes a knee. And after 31 years, the drought is over. And guess what? The Joe Burrow era is just beginning.
Welcome back. We still hit.
It still tried to replay.
It did still try to replay.
That's on me.
It was like one beat. It was one beat.
Bam. I got taken aback by Aaron's welcome back. Like, it was intense.
That was a strong welcome back, Aaron.
It was a strong welcome back.
Well, I'm mad
a little
as
upset.
hell.
That's okay. We don't need to talk about that. We'll put that off until hour 2 or
hour 2
whenever.
So
I don't know if I can wait till hour 2.
I am Aaron Smith. This is Pardon the Punctuation. Joined as always by Ed Mayhall, self-proclaimed best producer in the city, and Jeff Howell. And if you haven't already, please go vote for us on citybeats.com. I think that's all it is, right, Ed?
Yes, I tweeted the link earlier tonight.
So we have been the number 3 best sports coverage in Cincinnati for three years running, and this would be the 4th year in a row. Should we land top 3 again? The only people who've really beat us have been 700 and Fox Sports Ohio.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're doing okay.
See how we got Dan Horde on the show.
That is actually how we got Dan Horde on the show. Correct. It was kind of a, well, since you're number 2 and we're number 3, you want to do us a solid.
You said we weren't allowed to beat him.
Come slum down with the number 3 podcast.
But let's get into it, fellas. Sunday was a day for Cincinnati as the Bengals, or Saturday. We're doing weird playoff shit. But the Bengals have won not just the first round in 31 years, but have also now won their first ever playoff away game. And
Joe Burrow effect.
I mean, when winning one is the standard, we've now exceeded the standard. And let's go back. Let's before we even get into the game. I know we talked about it a little bit last week, but I wanted to address it again because this team was not supposed to win more than 3 or 4 games by all national pundits.
I think the highest that I had seen by anybody like out there was like 6, and that was, like, if everything goes right for the Bengals this year, 6 is the ceiling.
And
suck it.
So we finished at 11-6, I think it was, right?
Yes.
Why is it still going? Good Lord.
Or was it 10 and
stop? 10-7, 11-6, whatever it was. It might have been 10-7.
I don't remember anymore.
I don't either, and I'm busy pulling up.
It was 10-7.
10-7. All right, so we exceeded.
I don't really count the Browns game at the end of the year.
I don't know that anybody really does. I mean, that was kind of a get right game as far as like sit out and stay healthy, get healthy. Like
it was a throwaway add-in game that the NFL was like, yeah, we're gonna play 17 this year.
Yeah, I still don't know how.
Hey, Clay, suck it.
We didn't need it because we took care of business in Week 16 against the Chiefs, and
but
we need to do.
But I mean, for this team to go and win 10 games as they did, and to win in the first round, and then in the second round, like, I don't know that we necessarily won overwhelmingly in either game, as both games have now been in the final seconds, legitimately, with the interception by Pratt at the end zone, and
Beautiful.
the leg of Shooter McPherson, and all of a sudden, like, we're playing for the AFC Championship.
How crazy is to say that?
Suck it.
Like, what is going on?
It's
The game.
I don't know.
Go ahead,
Of
Ed.
course, we'll talk about the game, but I want to know just how you're feeling right now. Like, because I do want to let you know,
Nervous.
Chad talked about it last night on the BBP, that Cincinnati is 2-0 all time in the AFC Championship. I don't know if you knew that.
They are.
So there is that little statistic.
88 and 81.
Something like that.
88 and 89 back to back, wasn't it?
Was it? Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I know both of them were to get them into the Super Bowl against the 49ers, whatever years they were. But I mean, this team is doing things that they've never, ever done before. And they're doing it behind Joe Burrow. But it's not just Joe Burrow, because while Joe Burrow, and looking at the stats after the fact, Joe Burrow with 348 yards passing in that game, I still have no idea where the hell he came up with 348 yards, as he was on his back for a good 2/3 of the snaps.
9 sacks.
Set a playoff, tied a playoff record with 9 sacks. So the Titans definitely exposed the Bengals' biggest weakness. But again, before we get into the nuts and bolts of the game, how are you feeling, Ed and Jeff, about just where this team is and what they've accomplished thus far?
Excitement, man. Like watching that game on Sunday, hearing on Friday, like I'm listening to Highway XM on XM radio, and just the people who the broadcasters in that show saying how many Bengals fans were already in the city on Friday morning. That sounded crazy. Seeing the caravans of people going down there Saturday morning, and then just watching the game on TV, never being down, always leading. Got that little Cincinnati nervous going on when they tied it up and started marching down the field. But Shooter McPherson with the 54 and the 52 yarder. I know I said it earlier this year that I'm worried about his leg, with it being a rookie, and kind of like you worry about a pitcher throwing too many pitches. And
he had never kicked in cold weather before this year.
I mean, we'll talk about what he said before he went out there in a little bit. But, I mean, I sat there on the side of my couch, like on the edge of my couch. You see all these, I'm sure you guys have all watched them, the reaction videos where everybody is basically huddled down, like on hands on their knees, just staring at the TV, just waiting for the ball to go through the uprights. And dude, it hit me again, just like it hit when we beat in the first playoff game. It was just all of a sudden, it's like, I've never felt this before for the Bengals. I've never felt this before. How am I supposed to react? How am I supposed to, like, it's almost, almost to the verge of tears. And I don't know, man, it was exciting. It was a great game. I still in shock, nervous for next week, but why not us?
You done?
And
Yeah.
Jeff, now it's your turn.
That's your turn, Jeff.
I mean, Ed hit a lot of good points there.
Thank you.
Right when the game ended, one of my brother-in-laws sent me a text message and said, "I don't know how to act. What do we do now? Because the last
Do you
time
like fireworks?
exactly. Do I go outside? Do I need to set like a bonfire? I don't have like an extra car I can flip over or anything in my street. I don't know. Like I'm not okay, Facebook user. Boo. We're here for the ride and
Sure.
wherever it takes us. But so he sends that message and I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, I was 3 the last time that they were in the AFC Championship game. So,
Hey, side note to the Facebook users. We do appreciate the comments, but they only come in as Facebook users. So if you do want us to know who it is that's saying the comment and kind of feature you as you, subscribe to us on YouTube and we can drop you in when you're making your comments. But go on, Jeff. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So it's one of those situations where, like, I haven't been getting to that point where I feel like, the other shoe is going to drop whatever, like we've been talking about as the season's been kind of going on, I was confident. And then you got a guy like Eli Apple stepping up, making a great play on the ball.
Eli Apple.
And then Logan Wilson picks it off, and then you're like, all right, well, we don't have to get real far for Shooter McPherson to get in range. And my 8-year-old's like, ain't no way he's gonna miss. Like, right, exactly. I love the attitude. He certainly didn't get any Jeffamist. You know what I mean? You've been around for a while. You know, get the reference. So you've got that, but then you had a lot of guys stepping up throughout the game. You know, you had like Clay Johnston, who I didn't know who that was until he grabbed Derrick Henry by the toenails and pulled him down when he was trying to convert the 2-point conversion. Yeah, and then you got Eli Apple, who's been playing well all year. Logan Wilson, who comes back from, like, we thought maybe a few weeks ago he might be done for the season.
Right.
That shoulder injury that he sustained on special teams. So, like, that's why I'm like, I'm not in on putting anybody back there.
Starters in.
Like, don't do that. We've got some guys, like, you know, you got Chris Evans and Trent Taylor that can handle the returns. Let's just leave it at that. So then it was just this like boiling over of excitement. My one buddy who I've referenced before, we talk about, like, we text during Bengal season, which is typically like we're done texting now until, like, you know, either something significant happens with the Reds, or, you know, opening day starts, and then we kind of text a little bit during Reds season.
You don't do anything with the draft or free agency or any of that?
Some of that, like some of that stuff pops up, but those are like, you know, a couple days, like, hey, yeah, what do you think? Oh, well, you know. It's kind of like Ed giving, like, yep, an A or a B, and that's it. You know, like, we don't really necessarily break anything down when we're going back and forth on that day. But like we're still texting obviously now all the way through, and he's like, I'm crying. Like, he's like, I'm sitting in my living room watching and I'm crying, and I was like, well, I get it. It's awesome, and this is the feeling that I love. I mean, it's all the way to the point they're talking about having a watch party at Paul Brown. I'll stay at home where it's warm and watch the game.
Right.
And, like, they're talking about having a watch party down at Paul Brown Stadium.
So let me talk about my experience with the watch party at the Holy Grail.
Oh, yeah, because that was a sweet video you sent. It was all of like a half second long, Aaron.
I sent the wrong video,
Of your
man.
feet.
I sent the wrong video. I sent the right video.
It was like a live photo. Yeah, you sent
Yeah,
it. No,
that's
like,
totally what that was.
I was really excited. I clicked it, and then it was like, yeah.
I sent the right video afterwards. Anyway,
I looked at Michelle and said, what is this? What is this?
I sent the wrong video. Anyway,
It's okay,
So-
you're excited.
so I went down there, and first off, there was a line around to get in. Like, they hit capacity, and you had to wait to get in. So I stood in line and waited for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. Finally get in as people are getting out and going to other bars around the banks, and I can see why. Because it was it was 5 deep to get to the bar everywhere. And largely because you had groups of people waiting for their friends at the bar to get their drinks to share amongst their friends, and then didn't move. Then they just stayed by the bar in the way and looked at you like you were a crazy person for wanting to get to the bar. So I'm by myself. Like, I'm not even with anybody else. I'm literally just by myself. And I finally get to the bar to get a drink in the middle of the second quarter. My first drink in the middle of the second quarter. So, of course,
What time did you make it in the door? Did you get in before the game started?
No, it wasn't before the game started. So, in all fairness, but still, it was not the end of the first quarter. It was maybe halfway through the first quarter. I don't even think it was that, though. So I finally get in, finally get a drink. So I lined up 2 cherry bombs and got a bucket of beer for myself. Because I was not trying to wait in line to get back to the bar ever again.
I mean, at least being there by yourself, like, you kind of have the advantage of, like, not having to worry about anybody else. Like, you just kind of, like, slide your way to the front. Like, if you see, like, you see a hole, you got to hit it, you know? And
That's
then make
exactly
your way
it.
to the bar, you're like,
And
give me all the beers you have and just wheel a cooler out here.
It's like being
cooler.
It's like being in traffic where you're, like, making eye contact with somebody, like, can I get in there? Is
Right.
Is that okay?
Can you
Me,
slow
right?
down?
I need. Can I? And thank God, like one of the bartenders sees me making this effort, and finally, like I'm still too deep when I get called on. Like, thank you, get on my way. So finally get in, whatever. But yeah, so in that instance, like I feel like I pay almost as much for beer at Holy Grail as I do at the stadium. So I don't know. I mean, dress warm enough, and maybe you're actually getting a better viewing experience at Paul Brown Stadium than at the Holy Grail. That's not a knock on Holy Grail. That's just how busy they were. Like
And good for them.
They're not doing anything wrong. Like kudos. Like y'all are cash cow. Congratulations.
I'm sure it's a nice. I'm sure it's a nice little
spot.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a nice little boost after the hit they took for COVID. I'm sure this playoff is a nice little boost for them.
Well, and the best part about it was like going outside to watch the game on the big screen on the Red Stadium, because that screen is actually several seconds ahead of the screens inside because they're on dish, whereas I believe the stadium is on cable. So
did you have that problem with Chad once?
Correct. So McPherson hits his field goal, and me and some of the bouncers are watching at the front door, and I run in screaming, "He did it! He did it!" And people are looking at me like, "What? What?" And then it happens, and they're like, "Yeah!" So
you were that guy.
You spoiled it for an entire bar.
I don't even care.
I
had to wait too long for beers.
I don't think anybody in there probably cares that you did that either.
Not if I'm screaming he did it.
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
If he misses it, I'm just walking out the front door and going home anyway. So
at least you weren't yelling fire.
I mean, if he misses it,
touche.
You're going to overtime anyway.
So yeah, that all happened. But so that was pretty cool to take it in with me and 2,000 of my closest friends, or whatever the capacity at that bar is. It sure as hell felt like 2,000. So but yeah, that was pretty cool. So I don't know. I mean, to your point, Jeff, though, I don't know how to react either, because this is uncharted territory. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure we're all 37 years old, correct?
36. But
okay, so yeah, you're right there with Ed and I. And so we were 7 years old the last time this happened. I don't really remember that. Oddly enough, I talked to somebody. I don't even remember where I said, like, was speaking to somebody about this. It was somebody this weekend.
It was 88 the last time that it was in the AFC Championship.
Then I was 4. So clearly you don't remember it. But I remember the World Series, and maybe it's because that was a little bit later. That was 1990. I was 6 at that point, and you also had 4 games to like pack into your head, as opposed to 3 hours or however long the Super Bowl was at that point in time.
Absolutely.
I don't know that commercials ate up nearly as much as half the game as it does now when the Super Bowl was on back then. But plus we lost. So there wasn't like the hoopla of we won and celebrating and all of that.
Yeah.
So
no parades or anything to go down and see your just like
right. You pack it in on the Joe Montana pass to the tight end there and just try and forget about all of it.
And then essentially after that, it was some seriously bleak
paper bags on heads after that.
Some real bad times out of that.
It was Shula and Kozlet and whoever else was in there, and
David Klingler and
woof. So yeah,
I don't know. I think Aaron named every quarterback
last week.
Just about.
Week, so something like that.
I don't know. I mean, this is uncharted territory. So it's like you almost like you feel like if you celebrate, like it's gonna end. Like I can't celebrate too hard because I have to be humble, right? Like I don't know what it's like to be here. Like,
so here's a question I have for you, because I know there's like superstitions. So like this weekend, I did everything the same that I did last weekend, right?
Yeah.
I ordered my wings early. I picked up pizza for the boys from the same place. I got the same order on the pizza. I got the same order on the wings. I wore the same hat. I wore the same shirt. I sat in the same spot on the couch. Now, do those superstitions, now this game is not on a Saturday, it's on a Sunday, like, can I change my pizza order? Can I change my wing order? Like,
so here's the thing is you're facing a new opponent every week. So personally, I don't know what fitting a guy is on Twitter. Is he a suit master, Clay? I'm not sure what fitting a guy on Twitter is. That's why spelling's important. Just ask Ed all about that. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, you have a new opponent every week, so it's I don't know that superstitions are necessarily. I haven't done anything the same. So
Okay. I was
Really?
wondering
I,
because
I was in Athens.
okay,
the
so
week-
Jeff, you're with me. Okay.
I was in Athens the week prior, and I was in Cincinnati this week. So
I mean, I wasn't able to do things the same way because I was working this past weekend. So like the first half of the game, I actually ended up like the game started about 10 minutes before, 15 minutes before I was like gonna leave work, like before I got off.
Mhm.
So I just turned it on at work and then watched the entire first half at work, and then drove home expeditiously and got here in time to see the second half. And I watched it upstairs. So like I watched it in my living room with my kids and my wife, whereas the week before I watched that whole game in my basement.
you get to run all the lights, though, right?
No, I don't.
So
Hands on.
I don't. Like I said, I mean, I don't know that. I don't know that there's any superstitions when you're playing
I
in a
mean,
different.
I'm all for it. Like if people there's a lot of
Sure,
people.
I'm
who
not
are
going to
like,
knock anybody
you-
for
like-
doing it.
Like you got to do the same thing. You know, I'm wearing the same clothes and the same this and the same that. And like, I mean, sure, but for me, it's just like I leave superstition up to like baseball stuff, like just because that's how I grew up. But like, for this, because it's such like uncharted territory for like me, for like a lot of people, really, I'm good with, you know, get up there, give you your who days when there's good stuff going on, and let it ride.
So let's get into the game. And before the game, you know, you had CJ Uzama in the tunnel in a video that went viral very quickly, talking about
I got the blood pumping.
and it was an expletive laden video. And thank God for it, because it got me going. And there's no way he was talking like this with Andy Dalton there, right? I think Andy Dalton would have been like, CJ, you got to go to church with me before the game's on Sunday.
I mean,
But-
I don't know how he was talking then, but he has certainly been the vocal leader in the locker room videos that they
Absolutely.
post
Well,
afterwards.
He's the
Like-
most tenured Bengal, though, on offense. Like,
Right.
so, I mean, outside of, you know, Huber and
And Clark Harris.
Clark, right? So I don't know. I mean, I appreciate, especially with the way that he was taken out of his season all season last year, and comes back on. Is it a contract year for him, or is he under contract next year?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. Ed, if you want to try and look that up in between. But yeah, I mean, he clearly a vocal leader. Comes out and says, you know, no more. Why not us? It is us, in not so many words.
Yeah, there was some bleep, 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 and then there was a lot of like rah rah on the way
Right,
out because
right.
it's getting fired up.
But yeah, you know, instead of why not us, it is us. Like, this is our time. And damn it, it was, because, you know, again, to come back after 9 sacks, and we knew this line was bad, but it was exposed in a way that it had not been exposed all season long, not to this level.
And I mean, Tennessee's got, you know, they've got a pretty stout front. I mean, I'm pretty sure from like, because obviously, like, I didn't watch a lot of like Tennessee Titans football.
Sure.
I mean, Derrick Henry was on my fantasy team, but then he got hurt, and so like at that point, I didn't even care like what was going on with them. So they've got a, you know, from what I was reading going into the game, you know, they kind of rush only 4, and they're able to get pressure, and our offensive line's pretty weak. You know, they have a weak offensive line as well. I mean, as far as like PFF grades go, like we were pretty far down.
Well, there's also been, as with anybody at this point in the season, there's also been injuries. So you're
Right.
missing, you know,
Riley
Rife, which is, you know, maybe the biggest, I don't even know biggest, but maybe the most important free agency signing.
He is a free agent this year after the season.
CJ Uzama.
Yes.
Thank you.
I don't see him trying to
I don't see him going anywhere.
wanting to leave.
No.
You know, if they're going to have him back.
Correct. But yeah, Riley Rife. I know you could argue Trey Hendrickson. You could argue Mike Hilton, Chidobe Awuzie, Eli Apple even. But I still think Riley Rife, to get them to this point, was arguably, and the only one that I think you could maybe make a bigger argument for would be Trey Hendrickson. And if you wanted to make that argument, I don't know that I would actually tell you that you were wrong.
Yeah.
But Riley Rife was as important, if not more important, than Trey Hendrickson to get them to this point. And to lose, you know, a tackle going into the playoffs, that sucks. Absolutely sucks. So correct. We had not been exposed, but we had not been missing for the majority of the season. I think we lost him in week 16. If I'm week 15, week 16.
It was before the Chiefs game though. So like,
okay,
we didn't have him out there for that game.
Chiefs defense isn't what the Titans defense is though.
You're right. You're right, and that's a good thing because that's who we're playing this coming up week. You know what I mean? Like, and then, but to the offensive line's credit, yes, there was a lot of bad, right? There was a lot of bad.
Absolutely.
But on maybe the most important play of the game, they gave Burrow probably the cleanest pocket of the game when he hit Chase to set up the game-winning field goal
on that sideline.
On that little sideline out. Like, I mean, if you want to hear in detail about that, go ahead and pull up Joe Burrow's post-game press conference because he will go into extreme detail on it, and you'll suddenly feel like you could maybe be an offensive coordinator after you listen to him talk.
Or you know exactly why you're not an offensive coordinator.
Well, that's probably closer to it than thinking you could do it yourself. But yeah, so they pulled it together when it was the most important, and kept him on his feet, gave him all the time in the world to set that play up.
I think that's a credit though to Joe Burrow and who he is, and the just battler. Like that's not even a good word. The warrior he's going to continue to be for the Cincinnati Bengals for the distant future.
Hopefully, distant future. Yeah.
But just he has so much fight in him. Again, to be put on your back 9 times and still end up with 348 yards, only 1 interception. Now, granted, he had no touchdowns. Those 9 sacks accumulated 68 yards. 68 yards.
I will say
of sack yardage.
Some of those sacks, I feel like maybe he could have thrown the ball away.
I'll say that too. There were a couple where I feel like
there's a couple like that, too long. But then you go back and you look at, like, let's just pretend the season is only the playoffs. Like if you go back and look at the first week of the playoffs, there were a couple quarterbacks. The first one that comes to mind is Kyler Murray, who was getting pressured in the end zone. Yes, he was about to give up a safety, but instead he rushed a little, trying to throw the ball away or whatever he was doing, and he threw basically an underhand pass for a pick 6. So that's a pretty detrimental mistake to make.
Some of Joe Burrow's highlight plays though of his career to this point have been plays that he has spun out of or eluded a tackle and extended the play out another 3 to 5 seconds, gets a guy open because no play should develop that long ever. Where he's scrambling out of the pocket and hit somebody deep down the field or in the middle of the field where they've exposed the zone or beat man coverage or whatever the case may be. So I understand why he's trying to do it, but he's also not Andy Dalton throwing the ball away on 4th down.
Right. And I heard a stat today that he's the first quarterback to accumulate over 1,000 yards of passing outside of the pocket.
Ever?
Yeah. I heard that stat today. I heard it from, I think it was on Good Morning Football, if I'm not mistaken, from maybe Chris Carter. So that's a crazy stat.
I would have never guessed that stat.
Yeah, that's wild.
Especially with, quarterbacks like Favre being the gunslinger as he was, known as. I don't know. Like I would have thought Vic would have been. I don't know that Vic ever saw the pocket.
It might be a goofy stat like after contact outside the pocket or something like that. You know what I mean? Regardless, what he's able to do, and like to your point, where he's able to make these plays and allow things to kind of break down in the defense because he's able to stay on his feet long enough and spin and twirl and whatever he does to get out of this stuff. I mean, he's the best quarterback statistically under pressure in the NFL this year. So he literally only gets better whenever there's pressure put on him, which is a good thing because unfortunately he's been under a lot of pressure from defenses. So it's one of those things. Like I'm glad that he's our guy.
Absolutely.
And I'm
Sure.
glad that he's got what he refers to as, the freak show of weapons. If he needs to dump it off low. I mean, hey, one of the best plays of the game was a little dump off to Chase 2 yards behind the line that he then, whatever that slide, that incredible slide tackle by the Titan. I don't even know who the Titans defender was that did it, but kudos to him doing a little slide tackle action, basically causing a car wreck out there with himself and Boyd, so that it slowed down Chase, because otherwise that's a touchdown.
Well, and you bring up his glutton of weapons. Chase finished with 5 receptions, 109 yards. T. Higgins 7 receptions for 96 yards. Both of those did that very efficiently, with Chase having only 6 targets, had 5 catches. Higgins had 9 targets, 7 catches. CJ Uzama, 7 catches, 71 yards, continues to be a playmaker in these playoffs. That was on 8 targets. Joe Mixon had 51 yards receiving on 6 catches, on 7 targets, and also had 14 carries for 54 yards. So altogether, he ended up with 105 yards all purpose, with the touchdown there on the rushing touchdown that he had. That was in the third quarter. Tyler Boyd didn't really get off a whole lot. He was only targeted 3 times, 2 catches, 17 yards. But we also know that if those other guys aren't open, Tyler Boyd's going to be a guy that's getting those other receptions. So if they decide that they want to, double cover T or double cover Chase or whatever it is that they're going to do, and to Chase's credit, he is being double covered often, and he's breaking double coverage. And I cannot wait for him to have this first year under his belt and see what he's like in year 2 and year 3. Good God.
Well, the stat about Tyler Boyd not having a drop out of the slot in I think all season is wild. Man, he's a great little safety blanket.
He did have a drop though in this game, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know if that was out of the slot or if that was him on the outside, but I think that was his one target that was not caught. I believe was a drop. Because I even was taken aback. Did he drop that?
I obviously missed that. If that
that would have nothing to do with the regular season. That would have been still just playoffs. So
it's just there's so much to talk about with Burrow's ability to see the field, see defenses, understand what he's got to do to get the ball out and who he needs to get it to, and the way he spreads it out, which is obvious by the stats you just listed off, because they're all fairly similar, production from each guy. I know Chase is now the only rookie to have 100 yards receiving in 2 games in the playoffs.
Correct.
Which is that's the list.
That's
the list.
That's
it's
the whole list.
Jamar Chase. That's it. And go ahead.
I was just going to say, on the other side of the ball, Ryan Tannehill only finished with 220 yards, 15 to 24, with 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Derrick Henry was not himself, and I think everyone knows that, and I'm okay with it, as he finished with 20 carries, 62 yards, and the touchdown. Dante Foreman had 4 carries, 66 yards. But, A.J. Brown was the only one who really went off. 5 catches, 142 yards, and the touchdown with his long of 41. But, this defense, it's not even just one side. Tennessee obviously was putting everything in on their defense, whereas this defense held its own while the offense continued to do enough.
And really, I know it's really cliche, but it's survive in advance. I don't honestly, who cares what the stats are, right? Yeah, they go in record books, people can break records and do all I care about is the fact that the Bengals are playing next week.
Well, and I think that the Achilles heel at this point, it's safe to say, would be scoring in the red zone.
Yes.
That's probably the only thing that this team is currently struggling with.
It's okay. We'll just keep scoring from 60 yards out. You know what I mean? Let's just do that.
I just saw real quick. I
I don't care if Evan McPherson is the only person to score for the rest of the season as long as we win.
What
Well,
do you got?
I
Ed?
do, because we're gonna need a little bit more than that to beat Kansas City. No, I just saw this crazy post. A Joe Burrow rookie card rated at a 9.5, autographed rookie card with a patch, just sold for $4,000. $4,000.
I can see that.
I can only imagine what that's gonna look like when he wins the Super Bowl in the next 2 years.
He's gonna win a Super Bowl in about 3 weeks.
Let's not put the cart before the horse, fellas.
That's why I said the next 2 years.
Because at the end of the day, even over the course of the next couple of years, you have to consider that in this conference alone, you're still going to have to get through Josh Allen and what was just a number one defense. I don't care what happened against Patrick Mahomes in 13 seconds and a coin flip. But you have to get through Josh Allen and a number one defense, and you also have to get through Patrick Mahomes. And that's not including if Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars ever figure their shit out. And that's not counting if Bill Belichick gets Mac Jones to anything close to resembling Tom Brady.
I think you're also forgetting Josh Herbert and the Chargers.
That's a different conference.
It is. You're right.
And his name is not Josh Herbert.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Man, that was a double swing and a miss.
It was, and that's
Be
okay.
better, Jeff.
Be better, Jeff. That's the first time, Ed. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I was thrown off because Aaron's got his face is gone.
Bearcat B or a Bearcat Journal B.
That confuses me.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Then I think we've kind of passed up what Shooter said.
Justin Herbert.
Oh yeah, that's true. What Shooter said right before he went out there to kick the field goal.
I'm just being disrespectful. That's all.
So go on, Ed.
Okay. Well, I could quote it, or I have the video pulled up if you want me to go ahead and pull the video up.
Is the video gonna get us?
No.
It's probably gonna get us.
I doubt it. We've done this before.
It's not.
Here we go.
Well, there's no sound.
There's no sound? Did you say there's no sound?
I had no sound. Did you have sound, Jeff?
Nope.
Okay, forget it. We'll just say what he said. He apparently he did some practice swings with his leg, and then said
to Brandon Allen.
Said to Brandon Allen, I guess we're going to the AFC Championship. And then went out there and nailed a 52-yarder.
I love the visual of Ed putting his hands behind his head and him saying that.
I'm talking about this awesome dragon jacket that Joe Burrow is rocking. How many people are going to have the dragon jacket next week?
Everyone.
Just
is that a Nike jacket? Nike Sport, yeah.
So much swag on that guy.
And I pulled that video up and everything. That was useless. I thought I was being great.
Damn, touche, Jeff. Touche. Justin Herbert is AFC. I think you caught me off guard when you said Josh Herbert.
I called him Josh. I mean, it's all good. Whatever.
But yes,
like he could be a Josh.
This conference is going to be wild. And well, and the crazy part is I knew that because we lost to the Chargers.
Yeah.
When LT was there. So yes, to your point, yes, that is including Josh Herbert.
Josh. Good old Josh.
Justin Herbert.
Things just get tougher and tougher in the AFC. That's all. That's what it comes down to. And God forbid that the Steelers pick somebody up, or Lamar Jackson decides to actually
be a quarterback.
Yeah, not be hurt half the season or whatever.
I thought you were going to say be a quarterback.
No, I'm not going to hate on that guy.
Or if Baker really was just injured and is actually a good quarterback, but
yeah,
the jury's still out on that.
For the last 3 years.
At the end of the day, he doesn't have to be a good quarterback with that defense, though. He just has to be good enough, right? Because let's be honest. In a game like against the Titans, if the Browns had 9 sacks against the Bengals, I think the Browns win that game.
Fair.
Probably. Maybe not with an injured Baker Mayfield.
Chubb.
Well, and here's the thing: it's like that the Foreman guy,
Dante
the backup.
Foreman.
I guess he's he's obviously Henry's backup. Really, I think we may have been in trouble had they used him the entirety of the game as opposed to relying on Derrick Henry. Because we were able to shut him down. I don't think that he was anywhere near 100%. You cannot break your foot.
No.
Have 5 bolts and a steel plate in your shoe to get you ready to go, and tell me that you're 100%.
He wasn't planting right. No,
and he wasn't in any time. I mean, you could see that he couldn't push off, and that's not to take away anything from what our defense did.
He limped out of the tunnel.
Like the thing is maybe they were running him out there. Hopefully, I mean,
you don't bench your superstar. If he's telling you, I can go, you don't bench your superstar.
No, absolutely not.
If Joe Burrow looks at Zach Taylor and says, I can go, and his arm's dangling and his ankle is turned sideways, like pointing out, you just say, maybe Joe's bow-legged and I never realized it. And you put him out there with his arm dangling and you say, go win it.
But and saying that he's not at 100% is taking nothing away from our defense, because like even
Correct.
him, like not at 100%, he's still Derrick Henry, and like but our guys did what they had to do. I mean, you look at the fact that they were going for 2 from the 1-yard line, and during the course of the NFL season, like there's like a 64% success rate there, and you got Derrick Henry, and you're telling me that for 1 yard he can't be 100% Derrick Henry?
Right.
Guess what? It didn't matter, because Clay Johnson got around into the backfield, wrapped his legs up, and then they stopped him likely somewhere in the neighborhood of like a half an inch from scoring. Right? And so that ended that. And then again later in the game, when they needed it on 4th and 1, and he gets blown up like 3 yards in the backfield. I don't care who you are. You're not getting enough head of steam there to get away from that.
No, not 3 yards behind the line.
I mean, they blow him up to take him down. Ends that little threat. It was concerning, obviously, that we couldn't really get the flow of the Bengals offense going.
Only 348 yards passing, no big deal.
Right,
couldn't get the flow going.
Exactly.
What you want, 500?
And that, well, I mean, when you're getting, 9, when you're giving up 9 sacks, the flow's not there.
You're right.
It's just not.
I'm not disagreeing, but I mean, we did, to your point, we did punt 5 times. So obviously we weren't super efficient. We gave up 9 sacks, clearly not super efficient. And a lot of that was made up yardage. Of that 348 was made up yardage from being sacked. But at the end of the day, McPherson and the Bengals get it done on the last second kick to win the game, as he told his team, I guess we're going to the AFC Championship, like a true G. Just all the way. This little skinny white kid.
I'm pretty sure he's only like 16 years old too. It's incredible that he's able to kick the ball that far.
Wearing a God is good shirt in the post-game presser, says, well, I guess we're going to the AFC Championship. Good for you, kid. Good for you. Shane Graham's protege, by the way, as he was his coach at Florida.
For like a year.
Still, that's kind of just a cool connect.
Oh, absolutely. It's a cool connect.
I say all this to get to this point. Several weeks ago on this very show, we had Chad Brendel. And I brought up a point, and I said, Joe Burrow is a top 5 quarterback in the league. And I damn near got laughed off my own show.
I don't think you got laughed off your own show.
I was questioned. My sanity was questioned. Where I was coming up with this was questioned. and I bring it back to you.
Aaron's been waiting so long for this.
He says it when Chad's not here too.
I'm sure he's listening, and if he's not, I'll bring it back up if he comes back
It's
on
going to
tonight.
pop up down here in a minute.
I sent him the link, so it's up to him if he wants to come back in to defend himself. As again, my sanity was questioned, my homerism was checked, and I want to bring it up again. Is Joe Burrow a top 5 quarterback in the league? And if we go, we can do this again where we run through the entire list of quarterbacks in the league, and I'm wondering who the hell y'all got above Joey B, because I can't think of too many. And I mean, if you're building a team from scratch, I don't even know that you're taking a Tom Brady, that you're taking an Aaron Rodgers over Joey Burrow, but that's a whole different conversation for another day. My entire point is top 5 in the league. Who else do you have over this kid from Little Athens, Ohio, where I currently am podcasting from?
Okay, so end of the season on NFL.com, their quarterback index, the NFL quarterback index, which ranks all 32 teams' primary starting quarterbacks at the end of the season.
Okay.
Number 1, take a guess.
Tom Brady.
Correct.
Shocker.
Number 2.
I want Joe Burrow over Tom Brady.
Okay. Number 2.
Because I'm not sure Tom Brady's actually playing next year. He's given no indication to this point.
I don't think he leaves.
Okay.
Number two is Aaron Rodgers.
And just for the record, Tom Brady is in year 22 in the league.
Just saying.
How old is he?
44.
700.
700.
Aaron Rodgers is number 2. Year 17 in the league.
And clearly,
Aaron Rodgers took a shot this weekend. It just didn't work.
There's some things going on with him off the field, on the field, in the locker room, with management.
There's some weird stuff going on there.
I still think
I'm listening to him on the Pat McAfee show, though.
I still think I'm taking Joe Burrow
Okay.
over Aaron Rodgers.
Number 3, Josh Herbert. He's in his second year.
They're from the same class, and give me Joe Burrow over Justin Herbert simply because he's our guy. But if you're taking Justin Herbert, I'm not going to knock that at this point in time.
I mean, you're looking at really their statistics are a push. So
okay. So number 4 is Joe Burrow.
Number 4 is Joe Burrow.
There it is.
Oh, it says device is not connected. Can't add him to stream. Oh, hi, Chad.
Hi.
We're going through the NFL.com quarterback index.
Boom.
How's that going?
Well, Aaron thinks it's going really good for him.
Number 1 is Tom Brady in year 22. Number 2 is Aaron Rodgers in year 17. Number 3 is Josh Herbert in year 2. Number 4.
How's he number 3?
The hair was the push.
He's got good hair.
I think because it looks like so his final ranking last year was number 9.
Okay.
Burrow's final ranking last year was 18, but obviously that's based off of not a full season.
Right.
So and they have Herbert played in 17 games. Burrow only played in 16 games. They were pretty much a push on completion percentage. Herbert threw for 400 more yards.
Because he played way more games.
He played an extra game. He had 4 more touchdown passes. He did have 1 more interception. He had almost triple the rushing yards, but still only 1 more rushing touchdown. He only fumbled the ball once. Burrow had 5 fumbles.
Yeah, I can see where the turnovers probably came into
Herbert's
play.
line is head and shoulders above the Bengals line. Let's also say that.
Burrow had almost 1.5 yards more per pass, but
Burrow did more when it counted to get his team
absolutely
over the hump.
Absolutely.
Like, that has to count.
One team made the playoffs, one team didn't.
That's my point. And why did the Bengals make the playoffs? Because Joe Burrow was the best quarterback in the NFL.
A man unhinged.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely was. And I mean, if you look back at the last couple games here, the only interception he's thrown is a ball off of P. Ryan's fingertips that hit the ground.
Yeah.
It should have been an incomplete pass.
Sure.
But,
So
NFL
again,
replay says no.
Defend yourself, Chad Brendel. When we said several weeks
Hold
ago,
on, Aaron, I'm not even through the top
You're not-
10.
you're
Let me
not
get
even
to number
done?
10.
Not
Let
even
me
done?
Get let me
You're
get to
coming
number
at me.
10.
I just joined this fucking stream 30 seconds ago.
well, we had just mentioned you. I thought you were listening.
No, I haven't. I've been
I thought that's
working.
why you have
No, I've been working. I just had a chance to
That's
join.
even better.
That's
even
good.
better.
That's
I
awesome.
haven't watched a second of this show
the
yet.
timing. The
Literally
timing
when
is so
you-
perfect.
Literally, when you clicked to join, was like seconds after Aaron was like, "I'm sure Chad's listening, and he's gonna boop in at the bottom of the screen, and he's gonna come in firing hot."
I was attacked
No,
on my
I-
own show.
I had a post game press conference to do. Like I've got a great new segment idea called
saw that.
"I'm Mad." Tweet at Chad.
I saw that. I'm so in for it.
Aaron claimed he was laughed off his own show
Damn
over
near.
saying that
Damn
Burrow
near.
was a top 5 quarterback. So number 5 is Patrick Mahomes in year 5. Number 6 is Josh Allen in year 4. 7 is Kyler Murray in year 3, though he didn't look like it in the playoff game. Number 8 is Matthew Stafford, who I think should be probably ranked a little bit higher than where he's at. Number 9 is Dak Prescott, who has not as many playoff victories as Joe Burrow does, and he's in year 6.
Right.
And number 10 is Derek Carr. Then you have number 11, Ryan Tannehill, who did not acquit himself very well.
No.
Number 12 is Russell Wilson. Kirk Cousins at 13. Lamar Jackson is all the way down at 14. Jalen Hurts at 15. Matt Ryan 16. Mac Jones at 17, who I think
we're
he
good.
could probably be a little higher than that.
I think we're good here.
Jimmy Garoppolo, old Jimmy G, all the way down at 18 and in the Final Four.
Jeff's over here doing more research than Aaron Rodgers did on the 49ers.
Oh, God.
There's not much 49ers information on Facebook or the Joe Rogan podcast.
I was going to ask if he got his information from Joe Rogan, but I don't know.
You never know.
If Joe Rogan did a podcast about the 49ers,
But that's where we're at.
Oh,
And I think
man.
Tom Brady probably, I mean, he gets the number 1 ranking because of like
he's
Tom
the best
Brady,
quarterback ever.
but maybe he's waning.
I mean, he might be retiring. Like that might that very.
Dude.
If you listen to what he said post game, that we might have seen the last of Tom Brady.
Oh, they're still looking for a host of Jeopardy, and I think he might be in there.
He did look, I mean,
Well,
he
we're
looked
talking
a
about
little bit like he was
talking about
kind of
Brady.
like,
I thought you were talking about
He
Aaron
looked-
Rodgers. My
he
bad.
looked a little bit like
Keep
he
up.
was just kind of letting it, taking it all in there at the end of that game. So
Well, and I heard this morning or this afternoon, Brett Favre say, "Yeah, I mean, this is the perfect time for him to retire because he's still gonna have his health and he's gonna still have, the time to spend with his kids and stuff." So, I mean, he could very well retire.
His kids are old enough for college at this point, right? Like, how long has this guy been in the league? Good God.
22 years. We already said that.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Aaron Rodgers could also potentially retire, which would leave Josh Herbert as the number 1 quarterback in the league. Aaron?
Jeff referred to Justin Herbert as Josh Herbert earlier in the show.
But Aaron said that the
Catching
Chargers
you-
played in the
catching you up.
NFC, so
I did-
it was a wash.
It was a wash.
And his last name's Hebert because Bobby Hebert spelled his name like that. And so when I see that,
It's French.
it's French. It's like Chris Benoit.
Ooh,
Or Patrick
RIP.
Waugh.
I got you, Ed.
R.I.P. Chris.
Patrick,
Like there's people that spell
Patrick
it Benoit that pronounce it Benoit, and I'm like, no, that's Benoit. Justin Herbert's name is Hebert.
which is also, oddly enough, what you're supposed to yell if approached by a bear in the woods.
Hey, bear!
That was really good, Aaron.
I didn't. I ran.
You didn't yell at him?
Ed, the bear is fucking faster than you, bro.
Every
I
time.
realized that, but I
Did
only
you
realized
run
it as I was halfway up the driveway.
Did you run in a zigzag pattern?
No.
That's an alligator. That's what you're supposed to do for an alligator. What are you? Come on, man.
I've never been approached by a bear that wants to eat
But
me.
it's
I
like
don't
you've
know.
never read what to do in this situation. Of course, I've read all of what to do in these situations because I'm dumb when it comes to like real life situations. I'm I can spit off all the stats and,
I mean,
book
me
smart.
and
but
Bears, we're pretty cool. Me and
anyway,
Bears, I think.
all right. So
I am a Bear pack survivor.
So getting
Want a
back on
beer?
track. Getting
The
back on
Bear's
track.
like, yeah, bro, I want a beer.
So
Getting
let's sit
back
down
on
and have a
track.
chat.
Some Charmin?
The reason we were calling you out, Chad, and I thought
No, time out.
Wait, whoa,
We
whoa,
weren't
whoa.
calling you out.
Whoa,
We
whoa.
weren't calling you out.
Aaron,
all right.
Aaron,
The
he
reason
was
I
calling you
all right,
out.
that's fine.
Aaron.
The reason I was calling you out is again, I felt like my homerism was challenged, my sanity was challenged, and I said weeks ago on this very show, Joe Burrow
before Joe Burrow went unconscious and dragged the Bengals into the playoffs.
Sometimes you got to believe, man.
Sometimes you got to say stupid shit and hope it's right.
Throw everything at the wall, but I'm not.
That's not how I operate.
I'd rather say it like in the moment, feeling the way I felt at that moment in time. There was something that I felt that was just the way that this team was working and the way that this team was trending.
At the time, there was nothing to prove you were right. Okay, congratulations on guessing properly that when the chips were down, Joe Burrow was going to step up, put his team on his back, and carry them to the AFC Championship game. I applaud you for that. But that's not how I work when calling someone a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Thanks, Ed.
You get what I'm saying?
I appreciate you.
You don't get that distinction until you prove it. Now, he is on a track to proving it, so I'm good. But at the time that you said it, it was gobbledygook.
I love that word. Ed, you're on the.
You're muted, Ed.
Yeah, I'm muted. Gobbledygook.
Thanks.
It was bullshit. You knew it was bullshit when you said it.
I didn't. No shot that I knew it was
He
bullshit.
believed it.
I truly believed it.
I mean,
He
we went
hadn't
through
done
the
anything to prove it yet.
We went through the quarterbacks on that show.
Yeah.
And I think he fell around like 8 or 9 that day.
Which is where he was at that moment.
I agree, Chad. I was called out as well. Aaron called out the whole show, saying he was almost laughed off of his own show.
You were presented with factual evidence and you irrationally believed your opinion to be greater than proof, and you happened to be right in the long run. Congratulations.
So I've been crowned a fucking wizard. I'm just saying, I've been crowned a fucking wizard. So to cap off this,
point, you can't.
I just gave you a sitting ovation.
Because you couldn't argue that just because he's in the AFC Championship that he's a top 5 quarterback.
No, I would agree,
That's
but
because of what he's done.
Correct.
Because Jimmy Garoppolo is very clearly not
a top 5.
So Dan Orlovsky had what I thought was the greatest.
He said he was going off this morning.
I don't know if it was today or yesterday. It was one of the two. I think it was yesterday, actually, coming off of the game.
Right.
He had the greatest breakdown of this that I've heard. When he said, "We've never seen this. We've never seen a quarterback get hit and get abused like Joe Burrow got abused in that game and not have it impact the results." Because every time, and this, go back to when Tom Brady has failed. You go back to those Giants games, the 2 Super Bowls. You go back to the Eagles. You go when he's failed to make it out of the AFC Championship game. That's all we get to talk about with Tom Brady, because all he does every year is either play in the AFC Championship game or lose, or play in the Super Bowl. But every time he was ever pressured, he crumbled. He couldn't adjust. He couldn't adapt. He couldn't be Tom Brady. Joe Burrow got destroyed in that game against the Titans.
Under pressure in the league,
and he just got back up every time and said, "I don't give a shit." Okay, so now it's 2nd and 14, and we're still going to get the first down on your ass.
So does that mean we're going to now call him? Are we now going to call him Joe Chumbawamba?
I get knocked
Why? 'Cause
down,
you said
but I get up
gobbledygook?
again.
Oh,
You're never
God.
gonna get me down. I get knocked down, but I get up
Oh,
again.
no.
Chad's gone.
No, Chad's not just gone. Like he went like all
He
the way
left.
gone.
He left. Was it my singing?
No,
I
I
think
think
his.
he was having some signal issues.
He's coming back.
Or Joe Tub thumping.
No,
I get a whiskey
I'm
drink.
not.
I get a vodka drink. I get a
I'm
cider
not-
drink.
I am
I
not
get a-
okay with any of that. Not at all. Not a one bit.
You didn't miss anything. We were still in the Joe Chumbawamba bit.
I was singing.
It was not. It's not good.
Okay, good night.
Good night, Kelly.
Hey, Kelly.
The Tuesday night guys say good night. You want to come
Tuesday
say
night,
good night?
guys.
The Tuesday night guys.
She sits here after this show in the post game show and like talks to you guys more than I do. This has happened multiple times.
She likes us more than you do.
So there's a dog in the backyard, like it's fenced in. It's an Australian Shepherd,
Great
and
dog.
Tiger and this dog have become best friends. And last night, Kelly took Tiger out on the leash to let him go pee and poop. And
Is that why the dogs were going apeshit last night?
was part of it. But she did not realize that the other dog in the backyard was out. And so it barked, and Tiger took her for a ride down the hill on her shoulder.
Jeez.
And
no.
yeah, she might have dislocated her. Now she didn't dislocate her shoulder, but she's got it hurts. It hurts. She's not doing great. So she's going to bed, and she will not be here to entertain you guys during the after show.
During the after show.
Good night, Kelly.
They say good night. She said she'll talk to you next week.
All right.
Okay.
So to put a bow on the Bengals segment, though.
I don't want to put a bow on the Bengals segment.
Well, I mean, I guess Chad was talking about are you done
He
with the
doesn't want to talk about the other stuff.
Are you done with the Dan Orlovsky stuff?
No, Orlovsky just pointed out, like, we've never seen a quarterback get hit like that before and not have any indication that it impacted his game.
340
up.
yards.
He didn't get sped up. He didn't get happy feet. He didn't change anything about how he orchestrated the game plan.
He's
And
been
that-
like that.
I know that's just who he is. But on that stage to see it, like with all the chips down, season on the line, he got sacked 9 times. And he got hit on pretty much every throw. And he never once deviated. He never got happy feet. He never got uncomfortable in the pocket. He just said, if you're going to keep coming at me, keep coming at me. And if you hit me and it's 3rd and 15, I'm still going to get 3rd and 15. Don't care.
What's crazy about it is, like, if you look back, and like I didn't watch a lot of like LSU football to know any of these things, but a lot of the tweets and the things that came out afterwards, I then went and looked at, and they all kept mentioning like this play in 2018.
Yeah,
against
all this
U-
is credited to UCF. Yeah, it
Against
all goes back to
UCF.
UCF, Jeff.
LSU.
Right.
No.
When he was at LSU, they played UCF in the Fiesta Bowl,
Okay.
Yeah.
and he took a vicious
He
blindside
threw an
hit.
interception and got blindsided on the
Got
return.
spit on.
He got blown up and then spit on by a UCF player, and then he proceeded to drop 40 on him.
The switch was
Yeah.
flipped.
The University of Central Florida Golden Knights.
Yes.
It's the Central Florida University Knights of Gold.
Oh, gotcha.
It's the Tarnished Knights is who they are. I don't care. I guess they can also now take credit for Joe Burrow being Joe Burrow. Like, whatever. I mean, hell, Ohio State fans, they all claim him, like, whatever. It is what it is. I don't care. He's wearing orange and black, and he's on. I mean, the dude just has swag falling off of him. He's brought this team, this franchise to a level that we haven't seen in
Ever.
30 some odd years. It's nuts. I'm enjoying the ride. My 8-year-old had a flag football game the next day after they had on Sunday, and I was not able to be there. My wife said as each kid got there, the rest of the team literally went nuts and was like, hey, did you, well, they do the gritty after every play, so it is what it is, but they were like, did you see what happened yesterday? Like the Bengals, did you see McPherson? He hit that kick and Burrow hit the pass to Chase, and it was like they were just going nuts.
Well, speaking of McPherson,
so but here's the thing, that's who we were. Like that's what they talk about, the lost generation. 31 years of kids never got that.
That's us. That's us.
That's me in 1989, 90, and me in 1992 for UC football or UC basketball.
That's why I said it on the show last week, and I've been tweeting it out at anybody that'll listen to me, which isn't a whole lot, but there's some. And this team,
the 90 Reds World Series, we got all of that.
Into the Raiders game, this team had a chance, and they took it by the horns, and to fuse a fan base of disappointed, disheartened, just like heartbroken fans from the time, my generation of fans who it has taken everything out of our souls to continue to be Bengals fans. I've known people who have just left the team and decided, like, I'm going to go root for this team, or I'm going to root for this team because I'm tired of everything I'm seeing and what I'm experiencing. And then you have the group of fans who either were never football fans before and just decided out of nowhere to become football fans, and then they chose the Bengals. And then you have the kids, which is the most important part of this situation. And this team has been able to fuse all of that together, and parents of these kids being able to see these things, and people who even don't have kids that are seeing just the young people that are so excited about it.
Now they're having sex.
It's so incredible. They can have there's gonna be more kids. They're gonna name them Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and CJ Uzomah. They're gonna name them after all these. There's gonna be so many more.
I can't.
But Jeff, that's dangerous. That's dangerous.
Can't wait for that first Uzomah kid.
Because sometimes you name your kid Kelsey, and now she's rooting for the Chiefs.
3 straight nights I got to deal with this.
You can't have that.
Oh, it's here.
No. She can
what can I tell her? I can disown.
You tell her you weren't named after Travis. You root for the Eagles if you want to root for the right Kelsey. I don't care if you're more attracted to that one than the other one.
She doesn't give a shit what I say in that topic.
I like
but honestly,
no, it's not just that topic. Let's be all the way real.
She didn't give a shit what I say about anything, right? But let's be honest, man. Like, so I was born in 1977. So in my years where sports started to matter, right? Bengals Super Bowl, Reds World Series, Bearcats Final Four. That's 88 to 92. Like, that's the 4 years where, like, that's when you're really investing in developing your fanhood, right? We have since then, since 1992, an entire generation, 30 years, 2 generations. That none of the children have any. The Reds never won a playoff series. The Bengals never won a playoff game. The Bearcats never got back to the Final Four. And all of a sudden,
out of the first week,
see, Cincinnati never won the championship.
Oh God!
All of a sudden, you get a UC football Final Four, and the Bengals in the AFC Championship game in a span of 25 days?
Why do you think
26 days?
Why do you think in the 90s we were so excited about that Shaken Blake or
Shaken Blake was the best?
Or why this city fell in love with Carson Palmer and TJ Hushmanzada, who's your mama, whatever you wanted to call him. Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco. We got excited about Terrell Owens, who was a cancer everywhere. We got excited about him coming back.
We got excited when we went and grabbed James Harrison.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, we did get excited about that.
Because all we wanted
was to win.
And to look, man. Like
No,
I'm
Just
telling you,
just to win the first game. That was it. We didn't care about anything
win
after
a fucking game, right?
Win
Win a game.
First game.
We got a taste of it when Frazier won the home run derby.
That
Felt like our Super Bowl. That felt like our World Series. That felt like
It was so Cincinnati. It was winning something that didn't matter.
That's true.
Right.
Yay!
And I was there, and I do count it as one of like the top sports moments I've ever been like.
That's because there were no other relevant sports moments.
There was nothing else going on. I mean, think about the fact that the Bengals, like when you look back at it, like I think Aaron actually brought up the point, like they made the playoffs. Like the Bengals made the playoffs on a fairly regular clip, but they were just a first round exit every year.
Right, it was automatic
with Andy and AJ
They
Green.
were good enough to make the playoffs, but they weren't good enough to move on.
And then there was a couple times where it was the Cincinnati curse that got them. I mean, look at the Carson Palmer year, right? And then you have the year
Chris Henry,
2015.
same year.
You got 2015. You got Andy Dalton snapping his thumb, and then you go into a playoff game, and then the horrible things happen at the end of it that are just whatever. Like, I mean, it is what it is. It's Cincinnati, and you're like, I'm gonna go chalk that one up. Like that sucks.
Well, here's
the
thing.
Could have been broken.
This
then.
is Jeff. This is third time. Uh-oh. Is that you guys?
You're still good. You're still here.
This is the third time in the past 15, 20 years, whatever it is, since whenever Carson was drafted. That the 2006 was that 2006?
2000. It was
Four?
before that.
Four sounds
2004 seems right.
Yeah.
That they have had this young core. 2003.
Yeah,
but he sat out that first year behind John Kitna.
Yeah, so I guess that's why I was thinking 2004 was
four.
So
yeah.
This is the third time in 18 years that the Bengals have had this young core that it was like we're here. Like we're planting our flag for the next 10, 15 years, right? And it ended at both times in 5-6 year runs where they never did anything and you had to blow it up. Like you didn't have a choice. You had to blow it up.
Be more excited right now, though, than you were with either of those regimes because of the way
because they did it.
Because of the way the leader carries himself, though. Like even if we lost that first game, I'd still feel better about the next 4 years with him or 3 years, whatever it is.
No, you wouldn't.
With him at the helm.
You're talking about it's the same shit, man.
I don't know because I just feel like
is Joe any different? Like he didn't get over the hump. They played the Raiders and they couldn't beat the Raiders at home.
Okay, so I guess then if I counter you with this, what if we don't do it again?
Might not. You know how many times I've talked about Dan Marino? Dan Marino got to the Super Bowl his first year in the NFL.
Never made it back.
Never made it back.
I'll talk about that. Let's not. No, let's enjoy this.
But look, it's the ultimate thing that I say every time to every fan base that never wants to fucking listen to me. Winning is hard.
Oh yeah,
winning is hard, and winning at a championship level. What did I point out the other night?
Ask Penny Hardaway. Winning is hard.
He couldn't beat the Bearcats, so
ask Chris Mack.
He understands.
Chris Mack.
Yikes.
Look at the AFC.
Yeah,
we talked about that before.
It's going to be around a long time.
Josh Allen.
It's going to be around a long time. Justin Hebert going to be around a long time.
Mahomes' fiance might make him quit because she's getting picked on too much.
Yeah. Lamar Jackson has won an MVP. Going to be around a long time.
If the injury to Baker Mayfield is true, you're looking at Baker Mayfield's going to be around.
He sucks. He doesn't belong in this conversation.
Desmond Ritter with
the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, he's going to be around a long time. Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Like the AFC,
tough.
Over the next 10 years,
Lamar Jackson's an MVP. Let's not forget. I
just said that.
I'm just
How
saying.
could you forget it?
No.
I said it 30 seconds ago.
You didn't say he was the MVP.
Yeah,
Yes, I did.
Well, then I wasn't paying attention. You're right.
The AFC is going to be a nightmare. Do we all believe here that Joe Burrow's going to find a way more often than not? Absolutely. But that is far from a guarantee.
And here's the thing that I look at and that I was going to bring up earlier, and I didn't. But the benefit that the Bengals have right now, the benefit that they have right now is they have a
shit ton of
very a shit ton of money, but they have a very young core of everyone, right?
Well, that's why they have a shit ton of money.
Right.
Everybody's on a rookie deal.
They've got a lot of money, and you cannot tell me that there is no interest in coming to Cincinnati and playing on this team. Obviously, they're not done yet this year, and the interest could peak even higher. I don't know that it needs to be honest. If you go out and you look at any offensive linemen that are free agents, and I don't obviously have that list in front of me or know who that is, but you can't tell me you can't go out and get some of those guys to shore up the offensive line. And you're talking about potentially starting a dynasty. And that word is weird to use with the Bengals. But you're looking at starting a team that could be very, very, very good for a long time.
Yeah. Here's the other thing.
And they're in a good position to do it and to start it and to get that little head start above all the other quarterbacks who are pretty close together as being at the top of the league.
I mean, until we unseat the Chiefs as the AFC champions,
they're the big dog.
Well, they've won their conference 6 years in a row.
They're closer to a dynasty than we are right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's be real. You muted yourself, bud.
I know I did. I said I was muted.
Trying to
you got to look at it like what'd you say?
Nothing.
He
was trying to quietly open a pop.
Yeah.
It wasn't. We heard the and then you hit mute, and then you tried to talk.
I mean, at this point, it is what it is.
Right.
But the AFC does go through Kansas City at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, however, I will say this: my wife and I looked at getting tickets and whatnot, and going to the game next week. The overall expense was very high, and then I started talking to my son, and he was a little bit disappointed he wasn't going to be included in going, and we decided that watching the game together at home was going to be a lot more fun and memorable when they win.
Chad went through the same thing. Yeah, Chad.
And I come watch the game at your house. It's not going to be fun here.
It was going to be a stab in the chest. So I was like, yeah. We'll let it go, because this is honest to God the conversation we had. I said, I believe in the next 5 years there will be times when the Bengals are the number 1 overall seed, and we're going to get one of those games right down here in Cincinnati, and all I'm going to have to pay for are the tickets and not the travel and the hotel and this and this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, my wife brought up the fact that maybe we should go back and look at getting our season tickets again that we got rid of forever, which, by the way, I asked her if we should do that after they drafted Joe Burrow. I pulled up the receipts in my text messages, and she told me that I had brain damage for saying that we should get season tickets to the Bengals. And then she asked me the other day, hey, what do you think about getting season tickets to the Bengals? And I said, you told me I had brain damage in May whenever I asked that question. And she was like, well, I mean, things have changed a little bit.
So to tie a bow on this, let's be honest. We need to move on. But to tie a bow on this, the Bengals do take on the Kansas City Chiefs. And after watching 13 seconds in a coin flip change everything, you cannot leave Patrick Mahomes anytime to do anything ever.
Well, that's why the Bengals handled that's why the Bengals handled the end of that game when they played them here, the way they handled the end of the game.
Did you see the video today? Kelsey was the one
who called
orchestrated.
Yes.
Well, before that video came out, they talked about the presser. there was already like some presser stuff where he was like, "Hey, I told him like I'm probably not going to run that route. Like whatever you call, I'm probably not going to run. I'm just going to run to the open area because
the seam's going to be open." Yeah.
Yeah.
He watched how they defended the first. Well, he called the first play.
Hot route.
And told Tyreek Hill to get behind him so that he could clear the way. And then going into the second play, he's like, if that's how they defend it again, I'm going down the seam.
They're out there playing turkey bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what he said. He described it as playing backyard football. He said, like, I told him, like, I'm probably not going to run that route. I'm just going to run to the open area.
Are they doing it on their hands down in the huddle? Like, I'm going to do this?
They probably were, because then, like, when they went back and they I guess it's like, I don't know if it's like NFL Films probably who's like getting
Travis was clearly mic'd up.
Yeah.
And he's down there or whatever, and then you can hear Mahomes like, do it, Kelsey, do it, Kelsey, do it. And so
Travis
went
is like, I
see it. It's the same. It's the exact same thing, and he gets
it. Travis said, "I was going to do whether you told me to or not."
Then he goes to he went up there, goes to the ground. Obviously, they have timeouts that Dak Prescott didn't have, and they call the timeout, and then they go into overtime. Which the overtime rule in the NFL is obviously a travesty because I still think it would have been neat to see if the Bills could answer back to that. Like,
play some defense, Jeff. Play some damn defense.
Okay, you're right.
The irony of it, though, is that the Kansas City proposed a couple years ago that we changed the overtime rule because the same exact thing happened to them
against the Patriots.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. But
you want to win the game, don't give up a field goal with 13 seconds left.
That too.
So, in all honesty, I would have rather had the Buffalo Bills as opposed to. I would have rather had the Buffalo Bills.
Not after watching that, no.
But
not their defense.
That said, we do have Kansas City at Arrowhead, and we've beaten Kansas City, but we did beat them here. So I'm obviously wildly intrigued in this game. It's going to be a bloodbath, by my opinion. I don't think that either team's going to come out unscathed going to the Super Bowl.
Can I mention what's interesting to me?
That the Bengals are 2-0 in AFC Championships.
No,
I did mention earlier in the show before you joined us that you mentioned that last night, but
yeah, I'm going to mention something else. Go look at that second half in Cincinnati.
Held them scoreless, or not scoreless.
3 points, no touchdowns. Did Lou Anarumo and that defense figure something out?
Maybe
because that's fascinating to me. Because if you watch that first half, the Chiefs did whatever the hell they wanted in that first half.
They didn't punt, I don't believe.
28 points. They marched right up and down the field. And all of a sudden, if you go back and look at that second half, is there something they figured out? Does it matter if you're playing playoff Mahomes?
I was going to say, does it matter now?
That play, somebody made a great point. The sidearm throw he made.
Oh, yeah. Wild.
They pointed out what's his background?
Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
He made a slot throw from second on a double play.
Mm-hmm.
That's that way. If you look at the angle of that throw, it's a slot throw. Yeah, the guy sliding in
side to side on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Sliding in. Like it was brilliant. He's breaking the code because he's introducing the ways you throw a baseball into playing quarterback. Like that's absurd.
How do you defend
There's nothing you can do as a defensive coordinator that's like, hey, I know how he usually does things, but sometimes he does things like he's turning a double play and you're gonna
But I feel like Russell Wilson does the same thing.
He does.
Also,
he does.
Also baseball.
It just hasn't been as dramatic.
Right. But
he's
he's got his baseball background.
Yeah.
And it's that like ability to like get the ball where it needs to be.
Yeah.
From wherever, literally like
any arm slot.
Here with like a traditional pass all the way down to that weird sidearm submarine
sidearm, right.
like thing.
The only thing is, if anybody gets in the way, you're looking at a ball popped up into the air and let's go. And that's anybody's ball.
A little Eli Apple hand in there to knock it up to Logan Wilson.
Logan Wilson's the most opportune motherfucker there is.
And
Every time the ball pops up in the air, he's like, got it.
I mean, that's a guy we talked about it earlier that we thought potentially could have been lost for the year because he had to fill in on special teams. And then I saw some people today saying like put Jamar Chase back as a return guy, and I am 100% out on that. No.
All right, so
nothing to do with that.
If we're making predictions,
you didn't like Tyreek Hill when they put him back there.
I don't like that.
I don't like it regularly, but if you need a play, you put the guy to make a play in a position to make a play.
I mean, I guess if we're talking like, maybe there's like 3 minutes left in the game and you're down 3 and, they're kicking it off because to be fair, Taylor and Evans are not traditional return guys.
Their return game stinks.
Their traditional return guy muffed 900 punts and kicks against I mean, they just haven't had anybody. So, I mean, I guess in that situation, maybe if it's like you feel like that's, but the other, is that going to get you enough extra? That
if it gets you an extra first down, it gets you an extra first down, bro. Like, we saw just how important every yard is this weekend.
You're right. To me, it would just be one of those things where, like, okay, are you potentially going to sacrifice? I just feel like there's so many injuries that happen on those plays. Like, are you willing to sacrifice maybe like a Jamar Chase to get to the Super Bowl and not have him, or would you rather put maybe like?
I think even
I don't like to pick anybody, but like Tyler Boyd back there.
I was going to say I think Tyler Boyd has more experience as a returner,
guy than
Jamar Chase does.
A Jamar Chase or whatever. Like hell, like at that point, like what? Put Joe Mixon back there. Like,
we're almost an hour and a half in on just Bengals talk, so I want to cap this off with predictions for this game.
Day.
You got Cincinnati all the way, Jeff.
Who day? 21-17.
21-17. Okay, Ed, what you
got? Bengals win probably around the same that Jeff said, probably around 21-17.
All right, Chad.
That's all. That is 100% Ed right there.
I mean, that's what I was thinking earlier.
I know. So. I love you, Ed.
I think this is the Joe Burrow, like Michael Jordan against the Pistons, where he's got to figure out a way to be the man. I'll go Kansas City 31-27.
I'm going higher than all of you. I'm saying 41-38 Houday.
Evan McPherson. Kansas City, Chad?
Huh?
Did you just go Kansas City?
Yeah, because I think this is it takes a build up to knock off. You don't just jump to the end of the movie.
You do.
Right?
Big Ben did.
Joe Burrow does.
But that had nothing to do with Big Ben.
No, it didn't. It was all in the defense.
Yeah. Kaepernick did.
Colin Kaepernick didn't win a Super Bowl.
He didn't win it all.
I didn't say he won a Super Bowl, but he made it to the Super Bowl.
Are you saying he went right to the end of his movie, or?
But there wasn't somebody in the way in the NFC the way that right now the Chiefs are in the way in the AFC. Like right now, the Chiefs are the Celtics, the Chiefs are the Pistons, as Jordan was becoming a great.
Like I said,
it's very fair. And to that point, if the Chiefs win, I'm still this team has still fused and healed a fan base.
Absolutely,
yes.
In a
from the top down, not even just on the field, but
we ran out of McPherson jerseys.
They never had McPherson stores.
They never had McPherson jerseys.
Bill has one.
They ran out of blank jerseys.
It's the McPherson jerseys were all screen printed, and it was nonsense. He deserved stitched jerseys from the start. I had to order mine from China. It's on the way. But regardless, this team has done something for this city and the fan base that is long overdue. And hopefully, I mean, we know that winning is hard, but hopefully
Bob Castellini's taking notes.
They can.
Hey, I was going to say that the Bengals
Continue this.
and the Bearcats have set a precedent this year, and Bob Castellini better hop on that fucking train because we need to start winning. Like, we need to stop showing up to the bobblehead games and quit buying these bobblehead tickets, because I don't want bobbleheads anymore. I want championships. I want trophies. I want
Bob Castellini is thrilled. Nobody's talking about how inept the Reds are right now.
I think they are actually on Twitter anyway. If you're hip to Reds Twitter, but I wish I could John Madden circle the bobblehead in Ed's background right now to show how he doesn't want any more bobbleheads.
Well, this bobblehead's fine. It's
a collector's item. It's fine.
This is the All-Star
Fine.
bobblehead.
I showed up. Ed bought specific tickets and showed up 90 minutes prior to that game, walked in the gate, got his bobblehead, and straight went to the Holy Grail.
No.
Yes, you did.
You stayed till the fourth inning, didn't you?
No, he went straight home. He didn't go to the Holy Grail.
Yeah, that's right.
I actually have no clue where I got what that bobblehead's for.
In any case, the Bengals are setting a precedent, in the words of Joe Burrow, that we are not done.
That bobblehead was a gift.
Making the playoffs. We are setting the precedent that one win is at least the new precedent, the new standard. This is what we need to do, and I love it. I'm here for it. Hooday. God damn, it feels good to be a Bengal this year.
We win in this city, Bob. We're winners now.
Moving on to the Bearcats tonight. Moving on to the Bearcats going to Philadelphia to take on the Temple Owls tonight.
And moving on to FC Cincinnati. Has anybody heard about that?
There's not much to say about tonight.
It was a weird game.
They couldn't hit a shot.
I couldn't see the game for one.
I couldn't see the game either.
The ESPNU broadcast was terrible.
Chad, you watched the game.
I did.
On ESPNU.
Mm-hmm.
Did they have one cameraman and the announcers from home? Because that's how it felt.
I don't know if they were from home.
When the guy yelling would top out and it would sound atrocious, and he yelled all the time. I think he was trying to channel whoever he was trying to channel. It was awful.
So
awful.
That is the camera angle at Temple every time that UC plays there, and every year people complain violently about it, like it's the first time they've ever seen it. They watch that game every year?
The 3/4 court pivoting camera.
Yes, that's for whatever reason in the Licorice Center.
Thanks, Brent.
What?
He said that last night.
Brent said it last night.
He called it the Licorice Center.
Joke.
But
for
the
whatever
color,
reason,
the color
that's
was
where
bad.
the camera angle is from.
But the color was bad. It was almost like a VHS. Like I had to actually.
Strange.
I double checked to make sure it was HD.
Well, and the audio levels were atrocious. Like it was almost like the game was
It's
silent.
awful.
It was like the first HD camera ever invented is the one they're using.
I would rather continue to complain about the presentation than
awful.
what we actually ended up getting on the court at the end.
That's because ESPN is awful.
So
Well, I think what they're doing with a lot of those broadcasts is they're outsourcing them to the schools.
Woof.
Like we saw the last UC home game where they
Nope, didn't see that either.
touted that CCM is like running this broadcast.
So it's an indictment on the the American Conference as a whole, the AAC.
To an extent, yeah, because ESPN basically told them, like, you're on your own.
Good luck.
Yeah, like, you have to develop out all of this stuff with, like, a fraction of the dollars. Like, you don't have, like, when they tell Louisville something like that, Louisville's like, okay, well, we'll dump, $8 million into our production. And Cincinnati's like, well, we got $73.18 left in the couch that we found. So we're gonna do our production that way.
So
because the American told them, like, you don't have a choice. You're gonna have to produce this on your own because we're not doing it anymore.
When Louisville does that then result in them like firing their coach or
hiring shitty coaches results in them firing their coach? But
I just thought that maybe freed up some money.
I didn't know. I wasn't.
No, they're paying him. They're gonna have to pay him like 12. They're gonna have to pay him $12 million to go away.
I can't wait to see that.
Are they going to get Kevin Ollie? Are they going to get Kevin Ollie there?
I'm not going to comment on what I think might happen at Louisville.
Copy.
No comment. We'll see.
So
We'll see.
the Temple Cincinnati game, getting back on course.
Look,
goodness gracious.
I'll put it this way. If you play a second half where you score 21 points, you shoot 17% from the field,
9
and
minutes
you shoot
without it.
7% from three, you're gonna lose. And they lost. Like that's the beginning and the end of it.
I mean, they went like 9 minutes without scoring
A field goal.
A field goal.
anything
right?
anything other than a free
A free
throw,
throw.
and that
Yeah.
and that was even like a little
Awful.
iffy. And they had looks. I mean, they were in the lane, they were mid-range
Sure.
jumpers, and then they were airball threes.
They just went cold. What could you do?
It was wild.
They
I
went
mean,
ice cold.
I mean, that's as cold as you can get, and as bad as you can play. Coming
And they
off the
still had a
games that
shot
they
tie
played,
with 4 seconds left.
Well, because they had a shot better than that, actually. If they're given the timeout that Newman calls.
Yeah, but
They're
shit happens, man. That's
I mean, and it was Chad's favorite ref down there. I mean, come on. Okay, and I get it. Those things get missed, and things like that don't, whatever. Like sometimes, the Raiders call a phantom timeout. That one gets granted 80 seconds later. Newman is calling a timeout for like 15 seconds on the ground holding the ball, and then they're like,
Jump ball.
You're like, I don't know about that.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, Doug Sermon.
And then it turns around and it's a 3-point. I mean, literally the worst case scenario happens. You don't get
but like
granted the
Wes Miller
timeout.
said in the post game, that is a play that they scouted. They knew that play was coming, and they still
Let it happen.
Get it right. They let it happen. So this is on UC. Like,
No, absolutely. It's on the kids on the floor for not executing anything well for a majority of the second half.
All right.
and,
So I
and,
want to
and that's the hard part is for the last month, they've executed at a very high level.
I mean, they were shooting like 45% from behind, from 3-point, but going into this game, and then I think they shot like negative 10% tonight. So, and I don't know how you do that, but things just didn't. It was like there was a lid on the hoop, and everything was bad in the second half. I mean, literally going into the half, you're like, all right, they've taken over. Things are
timeout. Now's the jump ball. He called timeout 4 times. And actually, that's probably on Tony Green, who's the baseline official and also really bad. More than Sermons, because Sermons was up the baseline where he didn't have a great angle on it. But Doug Sermons still sucks. Like we saw at the beginning of the second half where he just like decided to infuse himself into the game. Like the Temple,
TV Teddy.
The technical he called on Temple was atrocious. He said it was because the guy cussed at him.
No, I mean
break. The guy made a dunk and went like this and ran back down the floor.
Probably said "fuck yeah" or something along that line.
Right.
Like,
terrible.
And before that, was he not also the official that called the foul on Davenport underneath?
Yeah,
and yes, what Davenport did was a forearm shiver. But
to a guy that put his shoulder into his throat.
Into him. Yeah,
it was
into
very
him.
clearly immediately after taking a shoulder to the throat.
That was one of the things that the announcers
So
actually
it's
said. That was one of the things the announcers actually said that was, yes, that you are
The
correct.
announcers were actually good, Aaron.
I hate
like
them.
I know. Well, that's because they weren't saying what you wanted to hear.
No, I hated
But
them.
They said the color guy said the entire night, Cincinnati is not having any success running offense. You know how you know Cincinnati wasn't having any success running offense?
The percentages.
Because they made 20 baskets, they had 9 assists, and they shot under 30% from the floor. So you don't do that if you're running good offense.
I mean, Temple also shot pretty close to 30%, didn't they?
They shot 33% for the game, 21% from 3, and they were terrible from the free throw line.
I mean, it was a bad basketball game.
It's terrible.
I have a couple things I want to say about the game. First and foremost is John Newman. This team missed him when he was gone, and it was absolutely apparent in his
He was
5
gone for 8 minutes.
I'm just saying his 5 offensive we talked about this all year, him being a glue guy, but I think tonight he stepped up even more than a glue guy. He stepped up as being like the guy with 5 offensive rebounds, 9 rebounds total. He had 9 points, and again, that's just because the whole team was cold. But it's second leading scorer for that matter, tied.
Unfortunately, this team took Andre 3000's words to heart.
I like the way you move.
No, what's cooler than being cool? Ice cold.
Ice cold.
All right.
And that was Big Boy.
I got that part, Aaron. I got it.
But what was Davenport doing shooting from damn near the 50-yard line, the half court? Like,
I mean, shit,
what was that shot?
The 50-yard line.
It was so bad. I mean, I get like a heat check, but he wasn't on fire tonight.
Nah,
he was.
My man Wes Miller doesn't like the heat check.
2 of 10 from 3, 3 of 14 for the night. Like, what was that? One shot that was just
the
like
team as a whole though was only 1 for 14 from like the 10-minute mark in.
They were bad offensively, and they lost because of it. Like,
I mean,
they were bad. They couldn't make shots. They couldn't get anything done.
Do you feel like when Odie was in, like they actually had some more rhythm to the game, and maybe he should have seen more minutes than the 9 that he saw?
I asked Wes about that post game.
Did you?
Because that's what I do. I ask the tough questions.
Okay.
He said that they made the decision to have Koval spread the floor. Remember what I said a couple weeks ago when Hayden had that game where he changed the game?
The 3, right?
Well,
he
did a very good job spreading the floor in that game.
I said
because he hit the shot.
Right decision because he hit the shot. They made the same decision tonight.
Twice.
He had 3 open looks.
Missed them all.
And missed them all.
The announcers at the end of that game when Koval
called him a good shooter.
When Koval went off
he is a pretty good shooter. Yeah.
When Koval went off like that, and it was that 2 games ago. Was it 2 games ago?
3. I think.
They said, and I quote, and it's kind of like comes back, but they were like, Wes Miller found the lineup that worked tonight. That doesn't mean it's gonna work every night. And unfortunately, tonight, there was no lineup that
they got him clean looks. They got Koval clean looks, and he didn't make the shots, and they lost because of it. And that's basketball. Like that's what I was trying to emphasize the last time when we talked about that. Mm-hmm. You're not talking about a 50% 3-point shooter. You're talking about a career like 31% 3-point shooter, which means he's going to make 1 of 3. And they got him 3, and he didn't make any of them.
It still comes down to the fact that this team just doesn't have anybody. We've talked about it from the beginning of the year. Like there's just nobody that warrants that like 35 minutes on the floor that can, they can shoot you out. There's no one person on this team that can shoot you out of a bad night. There's no one there.
I wouldn't say that because Davenport and DeJulius have done that.
I'm just talking
like at different times,
not on a consistent basis. There's not one guy you can go. There's like they can't clearly like tonight they could not turn to Davenport and say, please, like will us into winning this game.
So this was the problem we knew coming into tonight, and Brent wrote about this in the pregame article on BearcatJournal.com. Temple has a ton more length than Cincinnati. And Cincinnati's ultimate issue right now. Are you going to swing that, Ed? Like what's going on?
Why are you turning into Casey Jones right now? Put the bat down.
Okay, my bad.
Relax, Joe Clark.
Baseball.
Is Jeff the only one that got that?
Why did Ed just say baseball? Because he wants to be on the uke.
Let's stab you, Ed. Teams that have a ton of length on the perimeter are going to give Cincinnati problems because right now it's Mike Saunders, David DeJulius, and Mike Adams-Woods. Those aren't guys with great length, and length really bothers them. Mm-hmm. And that's, again, what we saw tonight because Temple was longer and had the ability to give Cincinnati fits when it came to trying to get downhill, trying to get into the lane, trying to create. And when they did get downhill, get in the lane and create and kick out for open threes, they missed almost every shot. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, Madison was missing all kinds of threes.
Madison, Mason Madison.
God.
I hate the other one was like David DeJulius is relying on that step back. Like, that's not sustainable. Like, did you not watch any of the past 3 games for Cincinnati?
It does make me very upset when I feel like announcers don't do any
homework at all,
any pregame like research whatsoever.
How do
Who
you
did more
a
research,
game?
the announcers or Aaron Rodgers against the 49ers?
Ed.
Sorry.
It annoys the shit out of me when I'm calling a Cincinnati game on Tuesday night. I should spend the next, or at some point, I should take a 4-hour window and take a look at watch a game or watch what Cincinnati has done well. Watch a cut up. You work for ESPN. Can you send me a cut up on the top 4 players from Cincinnati?
Or don't they have like assistants, like production assistants who do this for them? Like do all the research for them and say, here's the information, just read it over.
Well, yeah, but no, you need to do that research to be ready.
All right.
Like, if you've called a game before, somebody in your ear isn't going to be able to tell you David Julius has been stepping people back. Why do you think he got multiple threes where he went to the foul line? It was because Temple knew from watching the video that his step back jumper was hot. So Temple was overextending on his step back, and DeJulius would step back and just wait for the guy to jump into him
and then go
throw it up. Yeah, and go to the line for 3.
I mean, it is easier now, like, obviously, than ever before. Because if you look, like, UC puts together a highlight, at the end of every game. Reel of every game. So if you're going to call a UC game, go to their YouTube page and watch the highlights of maybe like the last 3-4 games.
Why were they good? What did they do that went well?
You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to do that, like if I was going to call a game and let's say that we're playing Houston, I would go to Houston's YouTube page. That would be the first place I go as a millennial, would go right to Houston's YouTube page and say, Houston basketball highlights. And then I would watch the highlights from maybe the last 3-4 games.
Even a 90-second tiki-talk.
Oh, even a tiki-talk. Maybe I would watch one of those. I mean, just if anything else, so that I didn't call somebody, by some crazy pronunciation of their name that, is very easily read off of a piece of paper.
Why do you think we call him
Cobble?
A do-a-do?
That's the AA highway right there.
That's why we call him a do-a-do. Because no one knows
whether it's a do or whether it's a do.
I mean, we all know that it's actually a do because Chris Lepore at the very beginning of the season made sure to put it on Twitter, like, this is what you call him.
I know.
But
nobody else gets
it.
They
continue to refer to him by other names. Like, just they have access to the players before the game, correct? In some capacity, to at least ask them how to pronounce or to ask somebody on the staff, how do you pronounce this name, this name, this name, this name?
And behind baseball, I mean, Terry Nelson, when we had that, who did we have to play when Houston canceled?
I don't know why you led that off with behind baseball.
Well, because I'm just saying that he even on the broadcast let us into, he did all his research the night before, and then for Houston or whoever it was we were supposed to play, and then had to redo research hours before the game on the new team. I don't remember who it was. Somebody in Ohio.
We didn't make there was not a game that replayed. Oh, it was
the replacement game.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't Houston then.
It was crap. The school from up in Ohio.
Yeah, I can't think of the name.
The D2 school or whatever, D3 or whatever it was.
But I'm just saying, he said on the broadcast I did all my research last night for this team, and now said team has showed up, and I had to do an hour before, I mean, so we even know our guys are doing the research. So why aren't these national guys doing research?
If you
Nationals probably a
we
stretch.
wouldn't have cared about any of this. I just want to point that out.
And I don't have a dog in the fight because I didn't get to watch the game because ESPN. Thank you.
You don't have a fight in the dog either.
It's cutting corners on cable. It's fine.
I'm not cutting corners on cable. I switched to a different cable provider because we have a Cincinnati podcast, and I didn't get to watch a single Reds game last year. Okay, I got
the Reds don't play in January and
Shut
February.
up, Jeff.
Yeah.
Shut up, Jeff. It was time to make a change, and I said, okay, let's do some research. Okay, I have the ESPN app, the ESPN Plus. I pay for that subscription. I'll be able to watch my Bearcats, football and basketball, right? Okay, this package over here has Bally Sports. I'll be able to watch that. This is going to be great. I'm all set. And then last week, 9 o'clock at night, get ready to watch a game.
Not so great because apparently the
ESPN app doesn't show all the games. If you want to watch teams like NKU or some other crappy teams, then you can go ahead and watch those games. But if you want to watch a game that's on ESPN, and I told the guy, I was like, listen, I'm not saying the Bearcats are the best team on ESPN right now, but they're a decent team. They're better than NKU.
I hope this is how this actual conversation with the
absolutely what I told the dude. Absolutely what I told the dude. And his response to me was, well, the ESPN Plus app isn't for watching games. Now, if you want to watch things like Peyton's Place, and I said, so I can't watch a decent basketball game right now because you put on ESPNU. He goes, yes, but you can watch Peyton's Place. And I said, stop telling me to watch Peyton's Place. We all know that Eli's the better Manning brother.
Whoa.
He agreed. And then he hung up on me.
I agree.
How did he agree? Did he say, you right?
He said, well, we can agree on that. But anyways, don't get the ESPN Plus app expecting to be able to watch every UC game.
Also, don't get
the ESPN Plus app expecting to be able to watch ESPNU because you won't buy the higher cable tier package.
Also,
to get
ESPNU. Don't say cable because you got Cincinnati Bell my way, and that's where everything went wrong.
Yeah,
it had everything I wanted.
It's their way.
It did not have everything you wanted.
Apparently, it didn't have ESPNU.
I mean, that's the big issue that we're running into here, Ed.
So I can't watch
my favorite is the games kick off, and Ed sends the same message. Oh, I guess I can't watch this one either. I'm going to have to listen to Dan Horde. Like, that's a bad trade-off.
Until 30 minutes before the game started.
Peyton's Place it is.
Yeah. How is episode 1 of Peyton's Place, Ed?
Watch it. Or did I watch the Man in the Arena?
You can watch all the 30 for 30s on there, and there's some really good ones.
I have watched. I have watched the
All right.
Well, then so hold on. So then the guy says, "Well, sir, after the game, a 9 o'clock game, after the game, 10 minutes after the game, you can watch the game." I said,
"There you go.
I'm gonna know the outcome."
You should have said on Twitter. You wouldn't have known the outcome.
I said, "So you tell me not to get on Twitter for 2 hours?"
Chad, I'm totally with you on this. I'm totally with you on this. What if I told you, Ed,
for 2 hours?
What if I told you, Ed, that when you signed up for Cincinnati Bell my way, you wouldn't be able to watch the Cincinnati Bearcats lose to Temple tonight. You wouldn't be able to watch them go 9 minutes without a shot being made into the basket.
That's so now I can't watch. It was hard to even watch it on ESPNU because it was such a bad broadcast.
I can't watch the East Carolina game on Sunday. I will be able to watch Memphis, Houston, South Florida, Tulsa. I'll be able to watch every game until we get to UCF.
So most importantly, you'll be able to watch the games with the throwback uniforms.
Okay, that is the Jeff. Thank you for the glass half full.
I do want to throw out there that Home Field Apparel, you can still go to their website and
snatch my wallet
and snatch up some pretty sweet gear. I don't know if the Bearcat Journal code still works for any kind of discount.
It does as long as you've not used it.
If you haven't used it yet, you can still use Bearcat Journal for 15% off. I suggest doing that, buying at least 3 pieces of gear, so you can keep your bill over $100, and then you're not paying any shipping.
You get the 2 hoodies and a T-shirt, and you're all
I
the
did
way
a hoodie.
gravy.
I did a hoodie and 2 T-shirts.
Well, I'm
and-
sorry. I did there was only 1 hoodie. I did the hoodie and I like
the crew neck.
The crew
Did you
neck.
do the crew neck? See,
The
I
crew-
didn't go
I
for
wanted the crew neck so bad.
I don't love crew necks, but that crew neck,
It's fire. It
With
is.
the dunking
but
Bearcat.
it needed a hood. It needed a hood. I'm going to be all the way
went-
real. It needed a hood, but
I went hoodie. My wife chose just the pretty basic Sea-Paw shirt.
I did that
and
one
then-
too.
And then I did also just the other like dark gray T-shirt with the angry Bearcat on it.
Ed, are you mad at home field for not being?
I'm not mad at home field. I know there's a problem getting supplies right now.
They didn't
Especially
cater. They
T-shirts
didn't
and
Well,
cater.
you know-
they didn't
you
cater
know-
to bigger fellas, right?
Anything in gray you can get in 3X.
Oh, I thought you were.
Oh, I
worried
didn't
about-
see that.
Yeah, you have to get the gray.
Man,
I wish
Ed,
I would have
you
known that the
coulda-
other day.
You could have helped us move all the way up into maybe 3rd
Ed.
place.
Use Michelle's credit card number and her email address to order your
then-
second order,
And then you
and
can
then
use
you can
Bearcat
get
Journal.
then you use Bearcat Journal.
I got I got 2 of the women's medium tank tops, and I can't wait to.
I can't wait to see Chad
Okay,
in
I
got the same thing.
medium,
on Twitter.
in a women's medium tank top, taking photos on the sideline at Higher Ground next year.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
And those are like low cut too. So
Yeah, they look pretty good. I can't wait.
It's gonna be amazing.
I
All right.
I'll be like, "There's Chad right there." Bam.
Ed,
yes,
You
first
have
off,
60 seconds.
I'm before we even get to 60
Whoa,
seconds.
whoa! Time out. Did you just say you don't have 60
No.
seconds?
Ed,
I think we know why. Wait. I think we know why. Ed, why don't you have your 60 seconds this week? Is it because you bought an Oculus?
Oh yeah. What happened with that, Ed? Have you
Yeah.
been spending a lot of time in VR world?
so
Wait. Did you throw up?
okay. Let's replace 60 seconds, Ed,
Did you fall over?
with Ed's first VR experience. Are we ready to do that now?
Yeah, well, let's do it.
We're
right
already
now.
there.
Go ahead.
What time
Ed.
is it? Hold on, I gotta mark this.
No,
one.
we're not.
No,
I'm
you
not
don't get
giving-
60 seconds. We're going to make fun of you until we're done making fun of you. So
Yeah,
go
ahead,
on.
Ed.
All right.
Start.
So Monday nights are usually my night to watch the wrestling. All right. But last night I had just got the new Oculus Quest and I wanted to give it a shot.
The
So
two, right, the Oculus Quest.
Oculus
2,
Quest
right?
2, yeah, the wife and I
Yeah.
just decided to purchase it. Went to Horizons, which is the metaverse where you get to interact with people. Put the headset on. I'm in there. I create my avatar and everything. So I'm a dude with a backwards hat. I got a beard, red beard. It looks great. It kind of looks
Does
like
it-
me, to be honest.
I was gonna say, does it look like you, or
Yeah, it
is
kinda
it
looks like
not? Like,
Isn't
did
that the
you-
point?
did you-
Like, if Snapchat could figure it out, why couldn't Facebook?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's definitely not NBA 2K, Ed. All right, so
I've seen you. You have 9-foot wingspan on
Yeah, it's
NBA 2K. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Move on.
That's
So-
got a lot of length.
I walk into venues because in venues is where you get to see like concerts and wrestling matches. And then I also signed up to watch Houston versus the Warriors in VR on Sunday
That's not
night.
what we're talking about right now.
So
Ed.
that'd be nice.
What happened when you
So,
first stepped foot
as
into the metaverse?
Go on.
As soon as I step foot into the metaverse, as soon as I step into the venue,
A kid.
some kid comes up,
7-year-old.
slaps the shit out of me twice.
Time out. What did he,
Slaps. I'm not in the metaverse for more
No.
than 10 seconds.
what did he say to you, Ed?
Yo, bitch, can you fight?
And then he smacked you in the face. What did you say back, Ed? Did you just walk away? with your
couldn't,
tail between
Because he
your
couldn't
legs?
figure out how to work the hands.
I was still trying to figure out how to work the hands, and I said, "Well, this is interesting. I'm not trying to fight anybody, but yes, I can fight." And he said, "All right, we're gonna go fight this girl." And I said, "Nah, we're good." And he said, "No, I mean not in real life." And I was like, "I'm good." And I left.
You just
got
got out of
bullied.
the metaverse at that point?
You got
I didn't leave the
bullied
metaverse. I
by
just
a-
left him.
you
At
got
what point did
bullied
you
by
throw
a
up?
6-year-old?
Okay.
Yeah, when did you
so
throw up?
so then later on, I go into Horizons Spaces, and that's where you can play games with people. All right, it's different. There's a comedy club. I think you can play poker with people. It's pretty cool. I go in there and I change it from teleportation mode to glide mode. So instead of your guy like boom, boom, he glides into his spots. All right. I'm up there throwing paper airplanes through boxes. I'm thinking about checking out this comedy show. I'm giving people knuckles. I'm giving people thumbs ups. throw your hands in the air and there's confetti. It's pretty awesome actually. If anybody wants to join me in the metaverse, it's 2 Chin Cincy, just like the.
Not if you're throwing up.
So apparently in glide mode, it messes with you a little bit.
Were you audibly throwing up in the metaverse?
No, I got the headset off a good 15 seconds, 20 seconds before I made it to the restroom, and there was it was much like
did you get the spins? Did you get the spins real bad?
Yeah.
Were you also drinking while you were doing this?
No. It was much like when I ate all this.
You should say yeah. You should have said yes. I was drinking.
Well, no, it was just the first time in the metaverse.
I'll give Ed credit when you're playing VR and your body is moving in VR, but like you're not moving in real life. It will mess you up. Like it throws your equilibrium off real bad.
Because I watched
half a
wrestling
you just
match.
Tell people you were drinking, so it doesn't sound as bad.
I watched half a wrestling match.
So you don't sound like the guy who puked doing VR.
I watched half a wrestling match, a couple songs from a Guns N' Roses concert, and then I think Travis Scott concert was on there too. I checked that out for a little bit, and I felt fine. But as soon as I started throwing paper airplanes, it was
this is quickly becoming your thing. 9 conies and a puke, a VR and a puke,
15 minutes in a VR and a puke.
Does Sean Casey want to meet me in the metaverse?
No, he's actually avoiding you at all costs.
That probably was Sean Casey, and he was like, "You want to fight, bitch?" And then he smacked you in the side of the head.
The shit out of you, right?
Now, besides the kid who slapped me right when I came in, there were some really nice people in the metaverse. There was a group of people that were chatting, and they're about to take a selfie, and they invited me in for the selfie. So I got in on the selfie. Don't know how to get the picture from them, but I'm in on that selfie, so people have a selfie.
I feel like Ed found himself into a sexual club, and they didn't want to share the picture.
Not what happened.
He doesn't want to say what kind of group he was in.
You and your accusations. First it's a drone, now it's a club. I need that to stop.
I mean,
weird things are happening.
You were at a swingers club in the metaverse, weren't you?
No. Like, hey,
all right,
guys, my name's Ed. Do you want to hear 60 seconds of AEW?
So
what was WWF?
So for the most confused guy in the metaverse, Ed Mayhall, and for Jeff Howell, Chad Brendel, thank you for hopping in and giving us that Bearcat insight. And
I was being challenged. I didn't even know it.
I mean,
that was the best part.
You can go back and listen. You can subscribe on our YouTube channel.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to put this out there because it's at the end of the show. Can we get a lot of thumbs ups? If you're listening to the show, hit the thumbs up button. It only takes a second. Just do it.
Smash that like button.
We just want to know that people like what we're doing at the end of the day.
I mean, make fun of Ed in the comments or something.
Please.
And,
fine.
He's a puker.
Let's go.
Join me in the metaverse.
Button.
Ed, drop your gamer tag so they can join you in the metaverse.
Well, that's what it is. It's 2 Chin Cincy, just like my Twitter page.
Okay, there you go.
Just like his face.
Join me in the metaverse.
So that is another episode of Pardon the Punctuation. Don't act like that's not why you actually picked that name. Come on, man. So that is another episode of Pardon the Punctuation. I am Aaron Smith. Again, for my friends, Chad Brendel, Jeff Howell, Big 12 Ed at 2 Chin Cincy in the metaverse. We're glad you joined us. We don't know why you did, but we're happy you did.
I'm thinking I have to go get Oculus now to join Ed in the metaverse.
Oh, Chad, the Oculus.
Can you imagine Chad in the metaverse?
It's a great
slap, bitch.
Chad.
You want to fight? We'll see you next week. That was part of the punctuation. That was part of the punctuation. We'll see you next week. Good Lord.
Goodbye.